bicycles.
Yes, but that's just...
There are other ways to get around town, you know.
Yes, I know. And I think I've researched pretty well all of them.
Right then. So your paper's about urban transport in London, eh?
Not just London, but that is going to be the focus. I've also looked at urban transport systems in cities around the world. Madrid, Beijing, Mexico City, Amsterdam, Paris, other countries too.
You have been busy, haven't you? What's the purpose of your study?
Well, two things really. I want to see if there are more efficient ways of organizing urban transport systems while cutting down on traffic congestion and, of course, pollution, and to find ways of encouraging people to use public transport instead of their cars.
Let's start with that then, with cars. I think you'll have a hard time thinking of ways to persuade people to swap their cars for a crowded bus or underground train. They're convenient, comfortable, faster, and sometimes they're a status symbol too.
Okay, I agree that cars will probably always be the most popular means of transport. But there are ways to cut down the number of people who bring their cars into the city. It's a problem that affects every big city, and several methods have been tried.
I know. As I found to my cost. When I go into London, which I do 2 or 3 times a week, I have to pay £5 to get into the city center. Has your research thrown up any more places where they do this?
Oh, yes. Apart from London, there's Oslo, Stockholm, Singapore. Now, there, in Singapore, they've got it really organized. They've imposed a tax on all roads leading into the city center, and they have electronic sensors that identify each car, and then debit a credit card belonging to the owner.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation,
£5 to get into the city center. Has your research thrown up any more places where they do this?
Oh, yes. Apart from London, there's Oslo, Stockholm, Singapore. Now, there, in Singapore, they've got it really organized. They've imposed a tax on all roads leading into the city center, and they have electronic sensors that identify each car, and then debit a credit card belonging to the owner. Stockholm, Singapore. Now, there, in Singapore, they've got it really organized. They've imposed a tax on all roads leading into the city center, and they have electronic sensors that identify each car, and then debit a credit card belonging to the owner.
before you hear the rest of the
These, instead of charging motorists to come into the city center, have tried other measures.
Such as?
Well, in-ads are only allowed to go into the city center on alternate days, depending on their license plate number. In Bogota and some other Latin American cities, such as Quito and Sao Paulo, they've developed what is called a BRT system.
A what?
A BRT system, a bus rapid transit system. People leave their cars outside the city and take buses, which have special express lanes into and through the city. It's been so successful that they're trying it out in Mexico City, Beijing, Seoul, and Taipei. And other cities are pedestrianizing more and more areas of the city center.
I see. How have these measures affected traffic congestion and pollution levels?
In most cases, it has led to a reduction in the number of cars entering the city center. Certainly in Singapore, where it's now much easier to move around the city and the air is much cleaner than most other cities in that part of the world. London too, I believe. I can give some facts and figures if you like.
Please do.
In the first year after the tax was introduced, the number of people using buses cars entering central London dropped by about 18%. There's more. The number of people using bicycles and mopeds went up 17%.
I knew we'd get to bicycles at some point.
Well, yes. In the city, the bicycle has a lot going for it. You can avoid traffic jams.
Listen, it's not working out. You and I hardly go out. Koi shaadi wadi ho, only then. But when I party, or when I'm just chilling, you know who's with me 24/7? Melora. Not you. See you soon. Everyday gold and diamond jewelry for your 7. Not your locker. Melora.
I do a live stream every Saturday night where I answer your questions about live streaming. And I get a lot of questions about lag, bad audio, choppy frames, choppy streams, things like this. So today I want to show you how to troubleshoot what's going wrong on your stream and walk you through some steps on how you can fix it. So let's get to it. If you're always looking for tools, tips, and tricks to help make you a better YouTuber, subscribe to the channel and click that bell so you don't miss any new content. There is nothing more frustrating when you're live streaming than getting buffering or dropped frames or choppy audio, things like that. But a lot of people have no idea how to figure out what's actually causing the problem. After you watch this video, you're going to know what's causing the problem. You're going to have a pretty good idea of whether you can fix it or not. So let's jump right into OBS and get started. Before we get started, we need to give you a way to actually visually see what is going on with your live stream. So to do this, we're going to go up to View and we're going to select Docs, and we want the Stats doc. Sometimes this Stats doc would have the same overlay that we're already getting some encoding. In the bottom right hand corner, you see it's green. I'm producing at a specific bit rate and we're not dropping any frames. That tells me that my actual connection to the internet is capable of sustaining the output that I'm giving you. On the other hand, you can see when I scroll up and look at my stats, I'm getting frames lag due to encoding and frames lag due to rendering. The encoding sending out. So we're looking basically at the input and the output side of the stream. One of the pieces is putting the image together in stats and get specific bit rate, and we're not dropping any frames. That tells me that my actual connection to the internet is capable of sustaining the output that I'm giving it. On the other hand, you can see when I scroll up and look at my stats, I'm getting frames lag due to encoding and frames lag due to rendering. The encoding is specifically a measurement of how fast your machine can take the image that you're producing over to YouTube, and it tells me I have an excellent connection. Well, that causes all kinds of choppiness and problems. You're going to do better with a really fast encoding speed than you will with choppy audio and choppy video. So if we can avoid choppy audio and choppy video just by changing this encoding speed, awesome. The picture won't be quite as crisp, but we can live with that. So we'll apply that. You can see right off the bat the audio and choppy video. The machine is able to set to very fast. We're going to set it to its and make it easier for the machine to encode this stream. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to change our encoding preset. That's the CPU usage under the output tab in the settings. Right now we have it set to very fast. We're going to set it to its maximum speed. That is ultra fast. Now, this will negatively affect the quality of your image, for sure. There's no way around that. But if your machine is able to encode fast enough, you're going to do better with a really fast encoding speed than you will with choppy audio and choppy video. So if we can avoid choppy audio and choppy video just by changing this encoding speed, awesome. Really fast and set it to its maximum speed. That is ultra fast. Now, this will negatively affect the quality of your image, for sure. There's no way around that. But if your machine is able to encode fast enough, you're going to do better with a really fast encoding speed than you will with choppy audio and choppy video. So if we can avoid choppy audio and choppy video just by changing this encoding speed, awesome. The picture won't be quite as crisp, but we can live with that if we're still producing a high quality stream. So we'll apply that, and we're going to go back and we're going to start our stream again, and let's see what we get. You can see right off the bat, we're not dropping frames when I sway side to hand corner anymore. So you might think, wow, that's awesome, the problem is solved. Well, let's hold on a second. I'm going to flip over to Streamlabs and kick off some of these widgets, and let's see what happens. And you can see as soon as I kick off some of these widgets, we're getting dropped frames due to render lag, and that's nothing too serious. So let's try the stinger. And you can see every time I run this stinger, my frames drop to well below 30 frames per second, and we're getting some render lagging again, which basically tells us that the computer is still not keeping up. Now, I know that you're looking at it and you see the frames come and they're a little bit choppy, but maybe that's livable. The problem is that the audio is also choppy. So let's try something else. We're going to stop this stream and we're going to go back into settings. And this time we're going to go to video. And I'm going to change my output scaled resolution to 720. What that means is we're no longer going to be streaming in 1920 by 1080. Our output is going to be in 720. 720. What that means is we're